God doing?
God is making all things new, and anyway, that's my hope, and I get to see glimpses of it every once in a while, so it keeps me going.
Where are you seeing glimpses?
In my local faith community, here at the Wild Goose Festival, gatherings like this, people from all kinds of different tribes and traditions coming together to share stories about where they're seeing it happen.
What does that sharing those stories have to do with salvation?
Man, salvation is a story that we get to share. That God, through Christ, has redeemed all things, and we get to be a part of that. We get to participate in that. That's the good news as far as I'm concerned. And so it gives me personal hope, personal faith to go on, to get up in the morning, and it's the story that I get to invite people into when I have conversations along the way. So,
who's Jesus to you?
Jesus is God. Jesus is the fullness of God incarnate, and fully human, fully God, fully divine, and he is the one that I am seeking to follow.
So how do you live, man?
I live very very consumeristically, and I'm working on that.
What breaks your heart?
Daddy.
What, buddy?
I want to go over there now.
Oh.
Can I walk there?
Why don't you go? There's mommy right there. Why don't you go over by mommy?
Oh.
We'll just hang out for a couple more minutes, buddy?
Yeah. He fell on the snake, so I think he's a little bit scared. What breaks my heart is knowing that there are people who don't have the kind of hope, and there's just a lot of oppression, and there's a lot of discouragement, and there's just a lot of things to kick you down and keep you down, and there's a lot of stories, there's narratives that we grow up in and that are told to us through the media and through the people around us every single day that help keep us locked into certain stories and certain narratives. And so just knowing that people don't have that kind of hope, and they don't have an alternative story, they haven't heard it, they don't know it yet, that's tough.
What's encouraging? What are you seeing in your church community that's giving you hope? And
we are figuring out who we are. We're figuring out who we are ourselves and who we are as a collective.
Why do you got to figure out who you are?
Because we are each created with unique personalities, unique gifts, but when we come together, we create something else that's unique and different and new. And so, to borrow the language, I think, from the Catholic tradition, that there's a unique charism that our community has. And so what is that charism? And so we're figuring out what that is, and together, and just putting one step in front of the other, and
Have you found any glimpses of who you might be?
I've over the last however many years been able to sort of distill down the things that I think I'm really passionate about into two things: telling stories and throwing parties. And I actually stole that language from Andrew Jones, the tall, skinny Kiwi, who's used it long before I did. But it made a lot of sense to me, and it resonated with me about the things that I care about as a communicator, as a storyteller, as someone who is a writer and is passionate about telling stories that describe the way things are and the way things should be, and then throwing parties, getting people together in places and spaces like this, creating environments for people to bump into each other and interact and share stories and build relationships and build friendships that that are generative and that will create new things out of them. So that's what I'm trying to do, and that's kind of the purpose, the mission of my own life.
If somebody just came and got you and was going to lock you up for a long time and you never see your kids again, what would be the last thing you'd say to them?
Wow, that is such an interesting question. I love you. God loves you. God is real. Have faith.